At Globalismus Web. Southeast Diploma Helictero NLQL Secretario di Governaci and DMZ Coinspeci and Avalos Effectos del Terremoto en Oaxaca. At Real Stavidra. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. At some point, we're going to be fatigued with everybody being a victim. You always have to play the hand you raid out. If you raid out a bad hand, you still have to play it.
I was doing fine in 1995.
1955, you were hungry without knowing when you would eat, and cold without knowing when you would be warm.
That's a horrible feeling. But you know, today we I just get worn down. I was with a young woman who happened to be black in Kansas recently, and she said something really interesting. She said, I'm really tired of having to play the role of being black. I just want to go to school. And I think at some point we're going to be fatigued with everybody being a victim. When I was a kid, there were tons of people who were in really bad circumstances. My grandfather would not let us wallow in that. And as you could tell throughout this book, he's my hero. He is the single greatest human being I've ever met, with 9 months of education. But he never saw himself as a victim. He used to say that he was a motherless child. He never knew his father. His mother died when he was 7 or 8 years old. Of course, they didn't have birth certificates then, so he never knew quite how old he was. And then he was raised by his grandmother, who was a freed slave. Then she dies. And then he lives with an uncle who has 12 or 13 kids and who was a hard man. And yet, he never complained. And he always said, he would have this saying when you'd want a wine or something. He said, you know,
at Radio Freedom. For my hobby, I should use. At VP, at SCO, at SecNews. Heading to Texas to survey our nation's border with ATSCO. That's SecNews and to be briefed on potential security threats by U.S. Customs and Border Protection. It is a matter of vital national security that we secure our border. At W. Terrence. I'm back in Facebook jail. Can somebody please run me out?
resistance movement Hezbollah says Israel has launched a war over the country's energy resources. The leader of Lebanon's resistance movement Hezbollah says Israel has launched a war over the country's energy resources. Speaking at a rally to commemorate the assassination anniversary of top Hezbollah leaders, Said Hassan Nasrallah said Tel Aviv has the backing of U.S. President Donald Trump in its fight to grab Lebanon's maritime borders and offshore energy resources.
Israeli media has reported that there are huge oil and gas reserves in the Golan Heights, and Netanyahu wants to annex the Golan. As for the U.S. occupation of eastern Syria, the Americans had said they would leave the area once Daesh is defeated, but they're currently protecting the few Daesh groups left. The Americans did not withdraw from eastern Syria because the most important oil and gas fields are present there. There is a battle for natural resources and the Americans are managing it.
Hezbollah's leader called on Lebanese officials to remain united and foil the plots of the US and Israel.
We as a country, Lebanon, if we are united, we are strong and we must negotiate from the point of strength. If Israel threatens, you can threaten it. And if the American tells you
news and current affairs from Germany and around the world DW
from attacking you, you should tell them you accept our conditions so we can keep the resistance away from Israel. We have the strength and our enemy knows this. Lebanon's main strength now is the resistance.
Lebanese politicians believe that through resistance, Lebanon becomes much stronger in the face of Israeli threats.
The Lebanese official stance was unwavering in the face of the latest Israeli threats, and of course the stance of the resistance gives more strength to this position. As a Lebanese group, Hezbollah will always be one of the pillars of Lebanon's defense line.
Hezbollah slain leaders, all assassinated by Israel, represent the various stages of the resistance movement, from spiritual upbringing to military and political maturity. And as many here believe, the leaders' will to maintain the strength of the grassroots movement seem to have paid off, with Hezbollah being the main deterrence in the face of the once invincible Israeli army. Mariam Saleh, Press TV, Beirut.
Federer becomes oldest world #1 France 24.
Our top story this afternoon, UN Secretary General Antonio
Guterres will be a recurring theme throughout the Berlin Ollie film DW 15.2018.
Korea over its nuclear program. Speaking at the Munich Security Conference in Germany
How
on
partly
Friday,
students are setting in,
said
keeping the record straight wired.
facing its first serious nuclear threat since the end of the Cold War. However, he added that policymakers should
Did
not
Russia
miss
affect the 2016 election? It is now
a
undeniable
diplomatic
wired.
solution by convincing the regime to come to the table for talks on denuclearization. He said any military solution to the crisis would be catastrophic for global security.
New York prosecutor sues Harvey Weinstein's studio ahead of reported failed news DW 12.2018.
Robert Mueller with interfering in the 2016 presidential election. In the indictment, Mueller's office linked the group to an internet agency known as a troll farm, which is said to have pumped out social media posts aimed at influencing
Russians indicted in Special Counsel Robert Mueller as pro.
Trump's prospects. It said the group, which started its activities in 2014, was initially aimed at causing political discord, but later morphed into support for the then candidate Donald Trump. The US Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein said there was no indication the group had altered the outcome of the election, but stressed that it was an information warfare campaign designed to undermine America's confidence in democracy. Turning now to the latest on the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics, and South Korea's skeleton star Yoon Sung-bin has won the country's second gold medal. He did so on Friday. He became Asia's first Olympic skeleton champion after completely dominating the daredevil event. Kim Nok-yeon reports.
South Korea's Yoon Sung-bin brought home the host nation's second gold medal of the Pyeongchang Winter Games on Friday with a stunning victory in men's skeleton. After outstanding performances in the first two legs
Macron
on
praised as
Thursday,
French economy powers escalation zones in Syria became war management strategy Syria deeply.
Finishes final two runs with a combined time of 3 minutes 20.55 seconds, emerging as South Korea's very own superhero. Olympic athlete from Russia,
Olympic skeleton athletes and helmets,
followed by Great Britain's Dom Parsons with bronze. Kim Ji-soo, another rising skeleton star from South Korea, finished sixth.
The shift in role of women in Syria's economy Syria deeply.
First Asian to win an Olympic medal in a sliding event, and the first South Korean to win a gold medal.
Brazil Army takes control of Rio security in MEETIS clash gang violence news DW 17.2018. No light at the end of a tunnel in eastern Ghouta, Syria deeply. In Syria's tangled conflict, a kind of regional war has already Syria deeply. Syrian conflict isn't over. Don't you forget the Syrians, although Syria deeply.
A powerful 7.2 magnitude earthquake has hit southern Mexico, causing buildings to shake in the capital city there. The epicenter of the quake, whose initial magnitude was reported at 7.5, was 50 kilometers northeast of Pinotepa in Oaxaca state. Witnesses in New York City, in Mexico City rather, said the tremors left buildings swaying for more than 2 minutes. Mexico's Interior Minister said Friday's quake caused some superficial damage to buildings in Oaxaca, but no deaths had been reported.
The Black Panther movie is racist. Alex Jones info hours. There is a war on for your mind.
Now we are on to day 3 of the long Lunar New Year holiday, and just like South Korea and many other parts of Asia, North Korea celebrates the turning of the New Year. However, there are many aspects of the holiday that are very different to the customs of the South. Park Hee-jun reports.
Lunar New Year or Seollal was not celebrated for much of North Korea's history until it became a public holiday in 1989. Before then, North Koreans were given a day off for New Year's Day on January 1st. Now, they're also given a 3-day-long Lunar New Year holiday. Unlike Seoul, there's no
Twingles
mass
blames
exodus
visa for
during the
issues around
holiday
duplicate
season.
charges.
Due to tight regulations and lack of transportation, it's extremely difficult for average citizens to visit family members living in other parts of the country. Only the North Korean elites who can afford cars are able to travel to other regions. With family, co-workers,
Ethiopia
and friends,
declares
many
state of
people in
emergency
Pyongyang
after
started
PMS
holidays
resignation.
off
France
by
24.
gathering at the city's Mansudae Hill to to worship the statues
Adam
of
Schiff can't
Kim
stop
Il-sung
playing Alex Jones info hours there is a
and
one
for
for
the
your
rest of
mind.
Seollal, although North Korean state media has previously reported that North Koreans enjoy the holidays with various traditional games and abundant food, often the reality is
Israeli archaeologists in their thorough on air Mosaic News DWO8 2.2018.
spend the holiday at home without the food that is traditionally prepared for Lunar New Year, such as dumpling soup or the half-moon-shaped rice cake called songpyeon. For average North Koreans, meat such as pork is a welcome treat on the Lunar New Year table, as is alcohol.
Powerful earthquake hits southwest Mexico News DW17 2.2018.
Exchange expensive gifts such as Swiss watches and electronic devices. But for regular citizens, calendars are the most popular gift. Paper production levels are very low in the north, but calendars are considered an everyday necessity, so they make a good gift. 박희준 아리랑 뉴스.
Hi everyone, Donut here, and what we're doing right now is driving over to a business called Concept Arms Firearm Solutions, which is a gunsmithing business run by one of my good friends and fellow veteran Brock Travis. Now the reason I wanted to go talk to these guys is due to current events. The media has a lot of things wrong about how easy it is to get a rifle and the background checks, and we're going to talk to someone who has an FFL about the process that you must go through to get one of those scary assault rifles. Oh, while we're driving over there, I want to say thank you to everyone who tuned in for live Sovereign Citizen Bingo with Angry Cops last night. It was hilarious and it was very, very fun for everyone. A little bit about Concept Arms. It is a full-service gunsmithing business, which means they can do anything that relates to guns. They have their own lathes and mills, and I don't know shit about machining, but they have anything they need to make basically any part of a gun. Let's say if you bring a gun in that has a discontinued part, well, they can just make a new part for it. Brock and his partner James, who run the business, went to school for several years to learn how to do this stuff. One of their final projects for class was to build their own gun from scratch. Brock and his partner James just opened the gunsmithing business up within the past year, and they're already doing pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and say that they're probably some of the best gunsmiths here in South Carolina. I want to go ahead and thank them also for letting me come into their place of business and bother them with cameras today. While we are driving over there, let's talk about some of the future projects that might be coming up. We'll be talking with a narc this weekend. I can't show him on camera, but we can hear some funny stories as a guy I used to police with. I tweeted to Black Rifle Coffee Company asking them if I could come hang out. They said, yeah, come hang out, so that might happen sometime. I think that's probably the thing I'm most excited about. They just released a new video.
Locating. I can't believe I found this. Hash Florida school shooting. The boss faces calls to resign over missed warning. I can't believe what's going on. A person close to gunman Nicholas Cruz called off the last month to report his desire to kill people and erratic behavior. Friday 16th February 2018. By David Mercer, news reporter. Buffy's director is facing calls to resign over its failure to investigate a warning about Florida gunman Nicholas Cruz, 6 weeks before the school massacre in which 17 people were killed. A person close to Cruz called Buffy with information on 5th January that should have been deemed a potential threat to life, but was not passed on, the agency said. Olympic skeleton athletes and helmets. I was sifting through some things and I found this. There may not be a Winter Olympics sport more terrifying than the skeleton. This is the sporting event where athletes voluntarily hurl themselves headfirst down a curving ice track at speeds of over 80 mph with no brakes. While most people may be too afraid to try it, it certainly does make for a fantastic spectator sport. For the athletes willing to risk life and limb for the glory of an Olympic medal, apparently you need a super cool helmet. The skeleton helmets at the Pyeongchang Olympics are creative pieces of art that not only serve to protect the riders' noggins, they also seem to embody the spirit of the athlete wearing them. Here is a sampling of some of our favorites. Photo above. Akbasi Frimpong of Ghana. How to disrupt and hash election. Fake kids, fraud in Facebook. Hold up, you have to see this. A Facebook posting, released by the House Intelligence Committee, for a group called Being Patriotic, is photographed in Washington, Friday, February 16, 2018. A federal grand jury indictment on February 16, charging 13 Russians and 3 Russian entities with an elaborate plot to interfere in the 2016 U.S. presidential election, noted that beginning in June 2016, defendants and their co-conspirators organized and coordinated political rallies in the U.S., being patriotic, promoted and organized 2 political rallies in New York according to the indictment, including the one of July 23, 2016. App photo/John Ellswick. Washington app. A year before Donald Trump announced his presidential candidacy, 2 Russian operatives landed in the United States to lay groundwork for an intelligence operation targeting the legitimacy of the 2016 election. What began as a Cold War-like attack by an old adversary would mix old-fashioned political agitation with 21st-century social media tools that ultimately oiled the election and shook America's political landscape. The indictment of 13 Russians by Special Counsel Robert Mueller Friday revealed that the now well-documented Russian social media campaign also relied on extensive intelligence work by operatives on U.S. soil. It also began earlier than commonly believed, first aiming to sow discord ahead of the 2016 election and later to boost Trump's candidacy. The indictment does not specifically tie the influence operation to Russia's intelligence apparatus. Instead, it fingers a group of operatives working for a unit called the Organization, financed to the tune of millions of dollars by Yevgeny Prigozhin, a St. Petersburg businessman dubbed Putin's chef, because his restaurants have catered dinners for the Kremlin leader and foreign dignitaries. Whoa. A general state of war exists between antagonistic, intervening states in Syria, even if it remains undeclared and unacknowledged. However, the form this war will take, and the conditions for escalation, remain unclear, writes Syria researcher and professor Stamarab. In the Russian investigation, clues were lost in translation by Wired. I can't believe I found this.
Everything is blue. His pills, his hands, his jeans, and now I'm covered in the colors, pull apart at the seams, and it's blue.
The allegations in the Justice Department's indictment of the Internet Research Association, the Russian organization that allegedly took aim at the 2016 presidential campaign, build, page after page, in their boldness. Covert trips to the US, money spent to hire Hillary Clinton lookalikes to be paraded around in cages, digital spycraft, and identity theft. This stuff is nuts. It was all designed to look like Americans were behind it. But listen and read closely and you can find a quieter bit of signal, clues that something was wrong in the language that the Russians used. Allegedly, the examples in the indictment seem, to my ear, to be non-idiomatic in a very specific way. So I called an old friend, a native English speaker who spent several years in Russia and is fluent in the language, and asked her to take a look. Take, for example, these two sentences from advertisements that the indictment alleges they hired on social media via fake identities and Russian bank accounts and credit cards, or with PayPal. Hillary is a Satan, and her crimes and lies had proved just how evil she is. So, the article the A or the is out of place. Satan is a proper name, a singular entity, but the use of the indefinite article A has the connotation that there could be other Satans. Perhaps, Hillary's satanic might have been another approach.